You don't get more powerful than Elijah was. When Elijah prayed, stuff happened. He prayed that it wouldn't rain, and it didn't rain for 3 years. And at the end of 3 years, he said, we're gonna have a showdown, throwdown with the prophets of Baal that the people of God have been worshiping. Why don't you bring your prophets to the mountain? I'll come to the mountain. You build an altar. I'll build an altar. We'll pray to our gods, and whichever God answers by fire, that's the one true God. That's not a good way to handle intra-office arguments. Straight Old Testament. And they build an altar and they pray to their God and they scream to their God. If you don't believe that the Bible has a sense of humor, you need to read this story because Elijah is hilarious. He taunts them. He says, did you guys schedule it with your God? Maybe he's on vacation. Spring break, he's gone. He's with the kids. I mean, Elijah's funny. Then he goes on, he taunts them even further. He says, hey, scream louder. Maybe your God's a heavy sleeper and you just really gotta wake him up. I can't wait to meet Elijah. He's a straight thug. That's funny, dude. It's so disrespectful and hilarious. And then they're like, all right, we're done. All day they try. We're done. It's your turn. He goes, my turn. You sure? You sure? I can go now? I can go. He builds an altar. He puts a sacrifice on it. He digs a trench around it. He finds water from somewhere. It hadn't rained in 3 years. He pours water over it until it saturates the altar. It saturates the stones. It fills the trench. And then he prays a 1-paragraph prayer and fire falls from heaven and laps up all of the altar, all of the water. And then he turns and he looks at the prophets of Baal and says, how you like me now? And drops the mic. That didn't happen, but it's something like that. And then they slay all the prophets of Baal. He turns and he looks at the king and he says, you better run because I hear the sound of rain. Then he goes back and he gets down in the dirt, buries his face in the sand, and he prays until it rains. And then he outruns the king's chariot on the way down the mountain. This dude's a powerhouse man of God. I mean, I'm talking awesome. And then he gets a letter from the queen. I paraphrase. Elijah, comma. Don't love what you did to my prophets, exclamation point, mean face emoji. I'm gonna do it back to you, comma. Gonna kill you till you're dead, ellipsis. Sincerely, the queen. Hashtag slay all day, hashtag you better run, sucker. Now think about, it's not just like that, but it's on the New International Jeremy version. Think about this. Now, he just prayed down fire from heaven. I mean, if I got that letter, I'd be like, little girl, you better watch out. I mean, if you could pray, can you imagine being able to pray down fire from heaven? So glad God didn't give me that gift. There'd have been all kind of people burnt up in junior high school. Dudes walking around with no eyebrows, I'd be like, keep playing. So you would think he would respond powerfully, but yet we find in 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 3, Elijah was afraid and fled for his life. A man of faith is responding in fear. See, no matter how strong you've been, the enemy will find your weakness. He went to Beersheba, a town in Judah, and he left his servant there. Then he went on alone. Everybody say alone. And this is why we continually talk about e-groups and small groups, and you got to get in a group. And if you're watching online, find the people around you, connect in the online community, connect at your campus, get in a group, get in a group, get in a group. Why? Because you were not designed to do life alone. It's the first thing that God said was not good. He looked at Adam and he said, it's not good for man to be alone. The first thing that Jesus did whenever he started his earthly ministry was start a group. There were 12 of them. And one of them in his group was a devil. So everybody in your group ain't gonna be good, but it's okay. I'm playing, don't laugh at stuff like that. Somebody just said, preach. Don't go to her group. You never know who's in there. I'm just playing. But he's alone. You're not designed to go through the desert alone. But he's alone. He travels all day and he sat down under a solitary broom tree and he prayed that he might die. Remember, this is a man of powerful prayers, but now he's praying. I've had enough, he said. Take my life, for I'm no better than my ancestors who've already died. This is a man who's now dealing with comparison. Comparison will kill you. Remember, he's a man of prayer, but the content of his prayer has changed. And now he's asking God, the God who brought fire down, the God who brought rain down, he's asking the God whom he serves to kill him. This is a prophet of God dealing with suicidal depression. We don't a lot of times talk about this, but here's the beautiful thing about this. He doesn't bring it to everybody else. He brings it to God. He's frustrated. He's going through anxiety. He's going through frustration and depression, and he doesn't know what to do, but he still keeps his eyes focused on God. Even if his prayers are wrong, they're still going to the right place. So make certain that even if your prayers aren't even powerful prayers and not strong prayers, just keep talking to God, and at some point, he'll be there. Now, I studied this. This man has been threatened most of his life. There's only one difference between this threat and the other threats, and this threat comes from a lady. Hi, come Where's all the moms at? We love you, mamas. All campus, raise your hand. Oh, look at the moms. Give them a great big hand. We love y'all, but we scared of y'all. That's the truth. Because we never know where your line is, right? Like, mommy, you're like, oh, whatever, mommy. She's like, I know, whatever. And the next day, you're like, whatever, mom. She's like, bam, don't ever say whatever to me. I'm like, I don't know. I wasn't going to tell this story, but I'm going to tell this story. When I was a kid, my dad started a church in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So I lived in Winston-Salem for 13 years. Shout out Winston-Salem campus. And I was there, and at about 15, about the age of 15, we had a small church youth group, about 30, 40 kids in the youth group, and we had a youth party one night. And after the party, the girls had a slumber party, and the guys had a not slumber party because you don't want to go to, like, hey, man, you want to come to my slumber party? No. So we had like a, we had a hangout. And so like the goal of the girls' slumber party is, oh, let's do each other's hair and makeup. Let's talk about boys. It's going to be fun. Oh, my God, it's going to be great. And the goal of the guys' hangout is get to the girls' slumber party. And as the son of the pastor and a natural leader, I felt it was my God-given responsibility to lead this effort. Like, it's my job to lead these young men to where we are supposed to go. So I'm pretty direct. I went straight to the lady in charge of the girls, and I was like, hey, what if we come over tonight and scare the girls? I literally thought she was going to be like, you lost your mind, little boy. But she was like, that is a great idea. I'll leave the garage door open and the door unlocked, and you guys come in. I'll have them around the fire, and you guys just scare them. It'll be great. And I was like, you've lost your mind. I can't believe we let you watch children, but yes, we're in. We went to Walmart. We bought some pantyhose, not to put on, but to pull over our heads because it makes you look crazy. And we snuck in at about midnight 30. We come in and we sneak in, and she's got all of these girls gathered around the fireplace, all the lights off, and she's got like one of those old silver flashlights under her chin, and she's telling them super weird ghost stories. She's like, and the man was walking along the railroad tracks looking for his hat, girls, because he couldn't find his hat. Isn't that scary? And the girls were like, lame. They had no idea. It was a setup, and we crept in. We had all the hand motions, and when we jumped out on 3, we jumped out collectively. It was awesome. We were like, yeah, and they were like, ah, and it was great. And then something different happened. Because I forgot to tell you, my father pastored a very diverse church. When white girls are scared, they're like, oh my God, Becky, oh God, oh Sabrina, Bethany, come on, oh God, help us. I'm going in a circle. I don't know what to do. I'm in a circle. Call your dad. I'm in a circle. Help us. When African American girls are scared, it's different. And there's this girl named Kiki standing right there. It's a true story. I jumped in. I was like, yeah. She was like, ah. I was like, got you. She was like, nah, fool. I got you. She grabbed the ficus tree. You know, one of those little trees at Walmart your mama gets for $39.99, sets it over as decoration. Nah, she turned it into a lightsaber. She started swinging it at your boy, hit me in the face. I couldn't get the pantyhose off of my head. She picks up the phone. She's like, Ray, call Biggie and them. Y'all get over here with Pookie. These fools are acting crazy. The Spanish girls are cussing us in Spanish. The white girls are like, oh my God, you guys better go. They're going to be really mad. I think they're going to hurt you guys. You better go. Really, seriously, run. We're running down the street. Ah! Pantyhose halfway off our heads. On a side note, some of y'all ought to get the spirit of Kiki, and the next time the enemy comes in trying to destroy your life and mess you up and shock you, here's what you ought to do. You ought to grab the sword of the Lord and start swinging it and say, get thee behind me. I serve a God who's greater.